New York Knicks have fallen off a cliff.
It's an official spiral.
An absolute spiral. The Jets, they ended a season of futility.
Futility. Very bad.
Harbaugh.
Yeah, that's crazy. It is rich people not understanding poverty. He averaged 10 wins a year for 18 years. I would crawl over broken glass for that. Are you kidding me?
Josh Allen. There's no Mahomes. There's no Lamar. Josh, if you're ever going to get it done, it's got to be this year.
I think Indiana could go all the way, Nick. I really do. They're good, man.
Welcome to He Did This To Me, the sports podcast from a father and son who happen to be mostly optimistic Knicks, Mets, and Jets fans. My name is Nick, a.k.a. Goody, and with me is my old man, a.k.a. the big guy, Noel. And just like his name, all we do is win. Let's get to the show. It's time to begin. The New York Knicks have fallen off a cliff. What are they? Is it 4 or 5 straight they've lost now?
I think it's 4 straight losses now. I think it's 4. It might be 5. I don't know. It's a spiral. It's an official spiral.
An absolute spiral. I mean, you go back to Christmas Day, and I feel like we're the best. I feel like we're the best team in the league. I feel like, we can't be beaten. We've beaten San Antonio, which they have, run through OKC here recently. We have the comeback on Christmas Day. But, when you take a look back now in hindsight and all those comebacks that we were having where we were letting teams get out in front, now when the magic's not there, when Brunson doesn't become superhuman, all of a sudden the warts really, really show. Talk to me, big guy. How are you feeling about our free-falling Knicks?
I'm I'm ready to go, not 5 alarm fire, but I'm at 3 at least, if not 4.
Yeah.
It's a problem, man. It's a real problem where we're at right now. And, I don't know exactly what the answer is. It's not all because Josh Hart is out, although that is playing a major part.
We miss Hart for sure.
Definitely miss Hart.
It's not everything.
But, Nick, I keep harping on this with the Knicks, and it makes a difference when we play young teams that have a deep bench and are long and athletic. It makes a difference. And first of all, we don't play hard enough on defense. That's just plain and simple.
Simple.
Regardless of how tall anyone is, we don't play hard enough on defense. We have to, and we don't. Do we have enough guys who have that dog in them to play that way on defense? We don't. You know who has a lot of people like that? Detroit does. Detroit does, and Jalen Duren didn't even play last night. Okay? So Detroit has a lot of guys like that, Nick, and they were making everything difficult for us. We literally couldn't. There were plays, Nick, that I was watching that I know we've spoken about many times where you hate playing with guys, especially, on our level, where you were playing pickup basketball 20 years ago back in Jersey, and there's some guy playing where, he won't even let you hand the ball in. He's trying to, deny that. They were literally doing that to us last night on every play, Nick. Every little handoff, every little pick. They were making everything difficult for us, and they were totally committed to that. And beyond that, they have greater athletes than we do. Okay, so if we don't match them with intensity, we have a very hard chance of winning. And what I saw was, I was texting this in our group chat yesterday. In the first half, you could see it, and I felt strongly that it would manifest in the second half, and they would start stretching it out because it wears on you. It wears you. I saw the Knicks with obvious things. Like you can see when you constantly are up in somebody, like all up in their jersey or whatnot, and now by the second half, you saw Brunson and Kolek at some point, the people guarding them, coming up the court, they were pushing off with their other hand, much more blatantly than they usually do.
Well, sometimes I feel like they need to do that more because everybody else is so physical. It's like, hey, we have to respond. They should do it more, Nick.
But what the problem is with that is that has to become part of their DNA. You can't do that as a reaction because now you're going to be committing fouls. You're going to look and be uncomfortable when you do that. You have to play with that hardness and that type of intensity all the time. I saw the Knicks of the 90s do it to teams over and over where they just played so hard against them. By the end of the game, these teams were giving up. And they put the refs in an impossible situation to call the fouls. People are doing that to us now. And trust and believe, everybody sees it. Everybody's going to do that to us until we stop it. It's not going to get any better, man. Not going to get any better.
Now, you say that, you're what, you're 3-alarm, 4-alarm, whatever the case may be. My question for you is, do you still feel the same about standing pat? And about, like right now, if somebody put on the table a Bridges and Cat for Giannis deal, are you still in the camp?
Bridges and Cat, yes, I would do it.
I think, for me, that's very hard to say. Because I know. But I almost feel like at this point...
I've been trying to stick with Cat. I've been trying to stick with Cat. I'm trying. I'm still trying. Dude, this guy disappears. He disappears in big games and he plays.
Saying he disappears in big games, I think, is not necessarily
some big games.
He's disappeared in some big games.
But it's not just that he disappears, Nick. That's not even it. It's not that he doesn't have a big game, although he only took a couple shots.
4 shots.
It's that he shrinks. He shrinks sometimes in some games. And you know when he shrinks, Nick? He shrinks when people are very physical with him. And you can see that frustrating him last night.
I think he tries to impose his will at the beginning of games. And I do think that there are some times where he, as the game goes on, he gets a couple calls that doesn't go his way. He does shrink a little bit. He does. But I also feel like, and don't get me wrong, I am not trying to place the blame on anybody outside of Cat or make it like, these are things that are out of his control. He needs to play better. He needs to accentuate his strengths more. He needs to somehow figure out how to not hook people with that left arm, which now it seems like it's contagious because OG's doing it now too.
OG did.
But beyond that, Dad, I also feel like as a team, as a coaching staff, and Jalen Brunson as a point guard, we have to do a better job of getting this guy involved. We have to do a better job of giving him the ball in spots where, hey, if you kick it to him and he's got the ball at the top of the key, and he goes and, hey, maybe let's say he shoots a 3. He doesn't shoot the 3. He pump fakes. That guy stays on his feet. I want him giving it up and getting it back in a better spot. And I want the coaching staff asking him, begging him, demanding that he do that. And I also think that Brunson overall has to do a better job of facilitating and sticking with the process when things aren't going well. 0 assists and 6 turnovers.
It's insane.
It can't happen.
He never has games like that. His assist to turnover ratio is very good, but he never has games like that. But he did last night, Nick. And I think I agree. We have to do a better job of getting the ball to Cat. But Cat, like when he's coming up to the top, like to receive the ball or just get in position there to receive the ball, he allows people, and especially a team like Detroit, to just totally move him away from his spot.
I know, Dad, but whenever I see him try to fight for that and try not to be moved, he gets called for a foul.
But Nick, it's not just that he's trying to move against it, and it's how he does it, Nick. He doesn't. My point is, and this is why I'm trying to. It's hard to explain what I'm thinking. He doesn't. For a guy his size, he's more flimsy than you would think. He allows people, like you can see other guys who play against him are able to just come up and they don't have to just, do anything. They can just stand there like this and they can move him. They don't have to push and stuff and do all of that.
Not like this. Their hands are down and they're pushing the shit out of him all the time.
Okay, Nick, but they're not doing something that's going to get called as quickly then.
I know, but I honestly, this is one place where I have to defend Cat because I often watch where I see other guys are coming up to him, they're trying to move him off his spot, and he's like looking at the ref like, do you see what's going on here? And then he gives equal energy back to them, and I do agree that he's a little bit more, flaily with the arms and, as you said, flamboyant. But I think quite often when he meets...
Sorry. Live TV. No, not actually, but anyway.
So professional. When he has guys who are getting physical with him and he tries to meet them with that same physicality, I don't think he necessarily gets the same benefit of the whistle. I mean, you watch this guy Embiid play, and the calls that he gets sometimes, it's like, I'm sorry, but I've seen Cat get mugged 10 times worse, and he just doesn't get that same call. Now, with all that being said, Cat brings some of that upon himself with, like you said, his overall flimsiness and flamboyance with the way that he moves. Also with the screaming at the refs, which for a while I felt like he was trying to do better with. But I also understand when this guy just starts to get fucking frustrated by the way that he's being officiated. But overall, I just think that as a team, we just need to get him the ball, run some more stuff for him. In general, when we watched the game the other night, the game against Philly, and we watched that together, I was screaming like, why aren't we running anything? I feel like we're not running any type of sets, and our offense sucks right now. We need to do something, and we need to emphasize two players specifically, Cat and Bridges, getting them the ball in certain positions. And like you talk about, us not being as long as other teams and not as physical as other teams, some of that is the fact that we have a guy like Bridges who is somewhat long. But he refuses to use that length or athleticism that he has. We've seen it. He has it. He refuses to use it. There's never been a player that I've seen that is more allergic to contact than Mikal Bridges on the offensive side and on the defensive side. And I feel like as much as anything that has plagued us recently, it's his lack of aggressiveness and inability to impact the game on both ends.
He does lack aggression. He's definitely a germaphobe. Doesn't want to touch other people. No, but
Bridges is really like when that whole conversation about would I be willing to give up Cat and Bridges for Giannis
in the span of 4 games, it's totally changed.
But that's the thing is that I can't. If we get a stint like this with Bridges in the playoffs, and we've seen with him, finished. He goes up and down. But it's just I don't even understand why his valleys happen. I don't get it. Like what? It's just like he seems like he's a totally different player than he was at the beginning of the season.
I think that Bridges, when things are going well, is a very good player. He's not a guy that's going to take you out of the depths when things aren't going well. He's not?
He's not a foxhole guy.
He's not a foxhole guy. I think Josh Hart is more of a foxhole guy just because he's got the grit and he fights. The thing with, to continue with Cat a little bit, is just that I think that Nick, every team in the league now knows, and every big man in the league now knows, they're all talking about frustrate that guy. Just frustrate him. It's easy. Just frustrate him. He'll start getting frustrated. He'll start flailing. He'll start bitching at the ref. Then you got him. That's exactly what they're going to do. It's what we thought when we played against them, and it comes to bear, Nick. It comes to bear. And I wish it wasn't so. He has stretches in the game, like a few games, where he doesn't talk much to the ref. He just plays solid. You see, and that's what I don't understand. Dude, just play solid, But he does what he does, and he's a pro athlete, and it's clearly taken him a long way, and that's great.
And he's a
big-time major all-star.
3 best centers
He's
in the game.
He's a great center and all that because he shoots so well, Nick. But you know what, Nick?
It's not just because he shoots so well.
Well, he shoots so well. He's a good rebounder. He's got a lot of good attributes, Nick. Does he have enough to go to the next level and take a team and be a large part of a team that takes to the next level? And you cannot put Brunson can't consistently be put in a situation where it's all upon him for 2 reasons. 1, because it doesn't work that way, and 2, when everything's on you and you're one of the shortest guys on the court, that's not good in basketball. It does make a difference.
Miss me with that short shit.
It does make a difference, Nick. There have been very few really short guys like that who could be that good unless the surrounding cast is that good too. Then they can shine. And when the rest of the team
is that good when they play well.
Right.
The Bridges and OG disappearance. OG can't shoot all of a sudden. What the fuck happened?
That's what I'm saying. When no one else is shooting well and he's in that situation, that's fucked. We can't survive on that.
I think if he was 6'9", that would still be a shitty situation. At the end of the day, I think that the entire team, the coach, all of them are in a very tough stretch. Now we know historically, you go back a couple years ago, and the Bucks, when they win the NBA Cup, I think they went 4-6 in their next 10. Last year, the Lakers, they went 3-7 in their first 10 afterwards. The Knicks haven't had 2 games off since their NBA Cup game, the NBA Cup final against the Spurs. Obviously, that leads to you being a little bit wore down. I think that things like that, like scheduling stuff like that, when you're talking about the highest level and the margins are so slight and so small, I think things like that matter. We also, without the 2 days off,
that Cleveland had a game the night before that went down to the wire.
I'm talking about a large span
Not
of time.
Cleveland. I'm sorry. They played Cleveland.
Detroit. Yes,
Right.
Detroit played the night before. I get that. I'm not talking about the fact that one team's on a back-to-back this game. I'm talking about over a long amount of time when you don't have 2 games off, you don't get practice time. I do think that physically it is taking a toll on the Knicks. I don't think that the Knicks all of a sudden just decided to be soft. I don't think the Knicks all of a sudden just decided to be a step
Nick,
slow.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think they've been a very good defensive team for quite a while now, for most of the season. But they've just been such a good offensive team that they've been able to get away with it. They've given up 100.
We've been able to turn up the physicality and be a decent defensive team. And I feel like here recently, some of it having to do with the people that we're playing against, the opponents, and some of it having to do with just the fact that, listen, leading up to the Cup and in that game against San Antonio, everybody was saying, well, San Antonio, they're going to have to deal with the Knicks' physicality. People were saying shit like that.
Exactly, which I don't really get because, I mean, honestly, I don't know if maybe Detroit doesn't play like this all the time and just played like this yesterday, but these guys are playing physical from start to finish. You see, what you said about the Knicks, but when they have to turn up the physical, they're trying to turn up that. Then when they get into a game with a team that's playing from start to finish like that, it's a problem, Nick. It's a problem. And it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem going forward because now everyone that plays is going to be uber physical, and they're going to say, you got to go from start to, that's just going to be the driving point. You watch. I feel like we can be tired, Nick. Okay, we can be tired and fatigued from the time, the recently with the Cup and everything, how many games we played. It's not just tired. It's how we play. It's how we play defense. We don't commit to playing just busting our ass to playing defense. Those guys last night, what I saw, I've seen before on some of our Knicks teams, but I haven't seen with this Knicks team. And like we've spoken about, Nick, this is the last thing I'll say. Like we've spoken about it. It's one thing when you have one player on your team that's not really great defensively, and you have the rest of the team that everybody can really turn it up and pick it up, and we can do that if it was just one guy. But when you have 2 guys like that who are not very good defensively, and asking our entire team to play that physical and forceful, that's a better word, forceful defensively, because that's what they did last night. They played with force against us, and that force got us doing this by the second half. Can't do that. And we have to do that to them, and we weren't doing it at all. They're laying it up like this into the basket. All our trips to the basket are shots up like this, and they're just punching down at it. All of their trips to the basket are going over us or laying it right into the rim. That's the problem.
First and foremost, the myth out there that Cat is some terrible defender, it's just not true. If you look at every single metric from the beginning of his career through now, he's not a terrible defender. He has definitely lapses, and there's certain things, specifically drop coverage, that he doesn't do well. But Brunson is a much worse defender overall than, say, a Cat is. Brunson, as much as we love him, the propensity to pound the ball and go one-on-one, especially early in games recently, and also the just mental lapses defensively. Like, I tweeted at Ian Begley, like, can somebody please ask Mike Brown why it is that we are so concerned with protecting the paint that we have guys one pass away who Brunson is now trying to help on a ball handler over there, and the ball gets passed to his guy, and he's not close enough, and that guy just shoots a 3. And I saw Brunson yesterday a couple times, actually, get up on this guy, Duncan Robinson, and, like, when he was switched onto him, and realize, like, I have to get out on him because I can't let him even get a 3 off. He's much bigger than me, so I have to be very close to him so that he can't get that 3 off. I saw him do that a couple times yesterday, and I was like, we need more of that, Brunson, and we also need that even when we're not going against one of the most prolific three-point shooters over the last decade. We need to philosophically, I feel like our guards, we're too concerned with helping as opposed to sticking to three-point shooters. It seems like a more antiquated style of playing defense, and it seemed like at the beginning of the year we were not doing that, and it was like, remember last year with Tibbs when all we were trying to do was guard the paint? And it seems like we've slipped back into that, which I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. And overall, The whole Bridges thing, like OG to me still seems like he's playing aggressive. He's not hitting threes, and obviously his driving to the basket is something that comes and goes as far as its effectiveness.
Comes and goes.
A couple games
Yesterday,
ago,
Nick,
he was the man.
He tried to break out the crossover, and somebody in front of him was just like, "Yeah, come on, give me that."
Yeah,
like, what are you
definitely
doing?
not his strong suit.
And wait, one other question. What was early in the game? Mitch dribbling the ball out. I was screaming at the TV. I mean, no, he was dribbling like 7 times in a row, Nick. I've never seen him dribble that many times in a row.
Dad,
What
honestly,
was that? Did you see that too?
100%. 100%. And honestly, Dad, when it comes to Mitch is another guy who, at certain points, I would say, yo, you can't get rid of this guy. You can't trade this guy.
Yeah. Last night wasn't one of those nights.
Not just last night.
Yeah.
This has been happening a little bit.
Yeah.
Dad, there was a time when Mitch was in a game, no guards are getting any layups.
Yeah, now he's not blocking shots as much anymore.
Guys are
People are laying people. The guy he's holding is getting layups, no question.
and he's getting offensive rebounded on. Mitch,
Yes.
he never boxes out. So when the ball goes up sometimes and he just goes like this, the ball goes over there, and that guy's just like, and he's like,
I hate to admit it because you know I love my man Bart Scott, but he was crowing today, of course, about Detroit Pistons, and he's always talking about Stu Beef. This guy Stewart. Beef stew. That's Jamaican Stu Beef.
He is Jamaican, by the way. That guy.
Is he really?
He's got Jamaican roots, yeah.
Okay. But how, this guy makes a difference, man. When he's out there, Mitch is not. This guy was getting offensive rebounds on Mitch, and I was like, Mitch. Or rebounds that should have been Mitch's offensive rebounds, and this guy's getting a rebound, and it's a block party going the other way. And I'm like, Mitch, what? Mitch is looking like...
I don't know what's going on with Mitch, but he definitely recently... I mean, he just got 3 games in a row off.
Page. Maybe it's personal.
Right, maybe it's some personal stuff going on. But he just got 3 days in a row off, so he should, you would think he'd be rested. And
let's go.
Mitch is... He's not up to par. Listen, Josh Hart, they're saying could be available in the game against the Clippers on Wednesday. They say Landry Shamet is, right around the corner as well. But, I mean, I'm even watching, Deuce get beat off the dribble and shit.
Yes.
It's just like...
man, when I'm watching that yesterday, I was
that
thinking
kid
about
Ivy
you
is a big difference maker for them. If Ivy is healthy into the playoffs,
that kid. I heard somebody, Bart said this today. He said, Ivy, in certain ways, is like our Josh Hart, but he can score. He said because he makes a lot of plays. I don't know. I don't watch them play.
I have watched the Pistons play a few times this year, and I don't love that comparison. I don't think he has a similar game.
But he can score.
Honestly, when it comes to Bart, his NBA takes.
I know. He's just a Pistons fan.
It's not just that he's just a Pistons fan. He literally doesn't understand basketball. There's times where he makes comments about stuff when it has to I'm sorry, but Ivy, Josh Hart, that's a shit comparison.
Yeah, but he can beat you up.
Who?
Bart Scott.
Bart Scott? Maybe not. He's a former NFL player, but that doesn't mean that he's supposed to be some like world-renowned fighter now at this point. Man, please, I'll punch Bart in his fucking neck. Fuck him. No, because he always anti-Nick Detroit Pistons shit. Fuck him. Fuck all that.
Why
bullshit.
can't he be a Detroit Pistons fan? That's where he's from.
It's not just that he's a Pistons fan. It's the specific hate on the Knicks.
He's a Knicks fan unless it's the Pistons. He does. He says that all the time. And it's true. He does root for the Knicks over everyone else. I listen to him all year.
Okay, I listen to his takes as well. Ever since that playoff series, right.
It still bothers him.
It's not just that it bothers him. I mean, he said somebody crazy was better than Brunson.
He said Cade Cunningham.
No, and listen, you could argue Cade. You want to argue that? That's fine. I personally
that argument became a lot more real last night. I'm not ready to give it up yet, but
I don't think it became. Listen, I don't watch Cade much. I don't think it became any more real last night because I've watched Cade all season, and Cade is fantastic. And when Cade is hitting his jump shot, now he's really a fucking problem.
Yeah.
But I just feel like we've lost some connectivity. It's like Cat proposed and got down on one knee, and he's never gotten back up. Right. It's like, what is going on? And it just seems like we're not emphasizing there was a point where I felt like early in games we were trying to get Cat involved. We were running some shit for Bridges, and Brunson was a little bit more so, being a facilitator, spotting up, getting other guys going, and then Brunson brings us home. And it just seems like we've totally went away from all of that here recently. Yeah. We really miss Josh Hart. I mean, as somebody who I appreciate Josh Hart, I love Josh Hart. He's a great Knick, but there are times where he really frustrates me. I'll take a couple of times where you jump up in the air and throw the ball fucking out of bounds if I can also get you, first of all, pushing and leading that fast break. We so badly need that.
We're getting so few easy buckets. Also, remember at the start of the year we were getting a lot of easy buckets. And Nick, the easy buckets start on the defense, man. We got to get the defense together.
What happened to the cutting? What happened to Cat catching the ball in the high post and guys cutting around and shit like that? It seems like when they give him the ball now and everybody's just standing there looking at him. Same thing with Brunson. It's like what? Like, and I
Nick,
honestly I really think the lack of practice is. I think that some of that is when you start
forget.
No, you just we're creatures of habit. They start going back into their shit when you don't have, it's not being emphasized and you're not all these things. Listen, the reason that the Knicks were playing different at the beginning of the season is because we just went through an entire training camp where a different style of basketball was being taught and emphasized to them. I think that not having as many practices recently is showing itself on the court. I'm not making excuses. I'm just talking about reasons for why this is. I don't think that all of a sudden they just decided to start being softer and not share the ball as much. I don't think that's the case.
Nick, I think.
What, you think we were this soft back when we played San Antonio?
But no, I don't think our defense. I don't think our defense is. I think our defense, when we play good defense this year, it's just not based on. We're not playing the kind of defense where we are totally committing and just busting out all the time, and we've been sporadic with that at times all year.
No doubt.
And that doesn't work long term. And games like last night, where we're sporadic and the other team has that dialed up to 15 for the entire game, by midway early in the second half, you're going to see us wilt. And that's exactly what happened last night. And I think that's going to happen. We don't typically
wilt. Last night we wilted.
I know, but Nick, I think we're going to see it more and more. Because it becomes contagious unless we turn around. Now, what could turn us around? You need guys like Josh Hart doing, and again, I think
Josh Hart and Shamet are two of our best all-ball defenders.
And I think those guys could do things. It's almost like you get inspired and you follow your leader in that respect. Brunson can be more of a leader on the offensive end. We've seen that. We need more of a leader on the defensive end sometimes, and maybe OG's that guy sometimes. Bridges is that guy sometimes.
Well, they're definitely our leaders on defense for sure.
But they don't.
The Knicks need a come to Jesus moment. They need
we need on-ball defenders, Nick, and we don't have many to guard any guards like that.
They need some times where they're sitting there and they're looking at, some film and they're challenging each other and they're saying, "Hey man, look at this shit. This is not acceptable." We're talking about themselves, talking about their teammates. Because we've seen that they have the potential to be better than this. They just have to put it together, and they have to do it more consistently, which they haven't been able to find just yet. Now, a little bit of perspective. First and foremost, the Pistons are playing the team that eliminated them from the playoffs last year. So they're coming in with a little bit of extra juice no matter what.
Right.
In addition to that, let's not forget that the Knicks couldn't beat any of the top teams at all last year during the regular season. They go and they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So hopefully there is still a different level that they can turn it up to. We are still the second seed, though Boston is now breathing down our neck. And we are another, 4-1, 5-1 stretch from feeling like, hey, we got some things figured out. But the biggest things they have to figure out is definitely the consistency, for sure.
I think those guys, I honestly think right now those guys, Nick, the Knicks, we have to figure out how to play better, but I just wonder now, which is why my mindset is more to the thought that would a trade make sense? I just wonder now, do we have the talent? Do we have the talent? I don't know that we're that talented.
When we just won the NBA Cup and we look like one of the best teams in the league.
I don't think, but I don't think,
I
honestly think, Nick, it's part of configuration. I think
Orlando is long and physical and all those things.
They're not nearly as physical as this team.
Orlando?
As Detroit? I don't think so.
Yeah, I
Detroit takes it to another level. And I think that everyone, they're letting guys play more physical in the league this year. I think we see that, right? I
think it started last year.
Right. Yeah. But I think we see that, Nick. But what I see is that we don't play anyone else like that in how we defend. Guys are putting their hands on us a lot. Sometimes. Well, and we don't enough, Nick, because I see guys putting their hands on us and we don't do it. So that tells me that we can. Then when we start doing it in the game, now we get called for it. We have to be that way from the first whistle. And we don't, Nick. We go so up and down with that. It's incredible. And every time I see these guys, Nick, I feel like we try to make a move, but yeah, we can't go around anybody and get right to the hole. But then when people do it to us, we're going getting right by us, getting to the hole.
Well, first of all, yes, our point of attack defense is not the best, but I also feel like one of the issues is that you see these other teams through ball movement, when they are getting the ball, they're getting the ball with a guy rotating to them,
right,
and they're
so
able
on the move.
Right. I just feel like a lot of our stuff that we're doing is just like, hey, here's the ball, and then you try to do something. Dad, Bridges is driving me fucking bananas sometimes, man. Like, I mean, his lack of aggression, and then it's like there's times where he shoots like a fadeaway, where it's like, dude, just take one more fucking dribble. No, you need to take another dribble. Just take your 2 steps and go to the rim. Like, he's never, ever trying to go at someone and finish on them. I mean, literally is never, ever trying to do that. And so I've even seen people say stuff like, yo, is this dude trying to, like, protect his streak? Like, no wonder he never misses a game, because he never fucking makes any contact with anybody on either side of the ball. And defensively, Dad, early in the season, Bridges was such a difference maker. Recently, I'm watching this guy get beat off the dribble. I'm watching him get beat back door and be late. You know, all of our guys are suspect when it comes to bringing the ball up against pressure. Everybody. Brunson, Kolick, Bridges, everybody has an issue with that, it seems. And it's just, I've even seen recently, Dad, where it seems like now we're doing this thing where we're just giving the ball to Brunson, and, like, even against pressure, just asking him to bring it up against everybody.
All of a sudden now that seems to be, we're going back to that. And that, you're going to wear the guy down.
It's not just going to wear the down. He might get his fucking pocket picked. And there's just, it seemed like we had figured that out. It seemed like we had figured out, hey, sometimes with this other guy, let's set a pick for him in the backcourt. Let's have, like, Cat flash to the middle, and then he can. And then all of a sudden, we're just back to all of that. And I can't understand it for the life of me.
Yeah, I don't really get what's happening there. It's all very distressing. You know, I mean, like I'm saying, Nick, we got to change a lot. We got to change some things, man. Some real, you know, like you said, come to Jesus moment or whatever. Figure it out and start playing a different way. It's going to be tough, man. I have a hard time seeing things go that way, and especially after what Dolan said in this interview yesterday. You know, I don't know what happens.
For reference, you're talking about him saying that he's never seen a team that's so, you know, copacetic is what the word he used, and that he doesn't see any major changes coming. And I don't necessarily.
But he also said, but Leon could overrule me on this.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Yes.
Important to say.
Which is perfect, and that's exactly the way you want it to be.
It was a good interview from what I've read, that everybody who was a Knicks fan, whatever, thought it was a good interview for Dolan.
Yes. Good for him. And overall, I do think that a move needs to be made, and you know, more and more, there's certain guys who I felt like there's no way I could get rid of this guy, and now it's like, I don't know, man. Like, you know, the thing is that if Bridges is not going to be a good defender, his value falls off drastically.
Drastically, but he is a very good defender, and we know he's a good defender in the playoffs, but then sometimes he's terrible. I mean, you know, and Nick, I mean, listen, but you could say that about everybody in certain respects. If Cat's not giving you at least 15, 18 points, his value falls off tremendously.
Yeah, but he is giving you that. He averages.
I know, but some games he doesn't.
Sure, it's
Bridges is an above average defender, but some games like yesterday he didn't. So we're reacting.
Yeah. I mean, just to me, all Bridges really gives you is defense and 3-point shooting. Shooting, obviously, is going to ebb and flow.
Runouts. Like runouts on the break and whatnot.
What does he do that once every 3 games?
I'll tell you. Like it's like 0.7 each game or something.
Okay. All right. Yeah. If you say so. And recently it's been 0.3. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Cat's going to get you 22 and 12. You know what I mean? Like his averages are 22 and 12. Bridges is going to get you 16, but it's not like one game he's going to get you 10 and one game he's going to get 20. He's going to get you between 14 and 17 every game.
Listen, and this is the other thing, Nick. Don't sleep, man. We got other teams in the East to be concerned about. Philadelphia.
No,
Boston. Okay? They're both on the come up, Nick. And this guy,
Listen, I don't
Jaylen
think-
Brown, is killing it.
Yeah.
Boston's playing very well.
Without Tatum, I don't think that Boston could beat us in a they could beat us in a
I'm
playoff
saying
series.
these are concerns.
Philadelphia is a fucking concern because
huge
Maxey
concern.
is just, a blur and he's unstoppable, which, by the way, I saw somebody with a bit of a breakdown. In that Philly game, in the second quarter, we didn't put Kolek in until the 7-minute mark, which we typically put him in, at the start of the second quarter when Brunson comes out. The offense looked horrible without Kolek in there and without Brunson. It almost is at a point where it's like one of those guys kind of needs to be on the floor.
Yeah.
And then also, our best defender against Maxey in that game was actually Kolek. Kolek was the one who was giving him the most problems, where he just wasn't. I'm not even gonna say he was giving him problems, but he wasn't just going absolutely fucking crazy when Kolek was guarding him. And I definitely thought that we could have used a little bit more Kolek. There's a lot of times where I feel like we could use a little bit more Kolek. And what the fuck is going on with Diawara? The EMP yesterday? Like McCullers has totally just jumped over him. And there's times where Diawara has definitely made some mistakes on defense, gotten blown by and stuff like that. But there's times in games where it's just like, I just need his length. And
Exactly, Nick. I tell you about that. I mentioned that way too often, frankly, his length in basketball. But such a huge difference maker in the game. And
how is it that Diawara is fall? I mean, he
Nick,
started
you
a
gotta get him
couple
out.
games in a row, and now all of a sudden he's a DMP.
You have to get him out there consistently and a lot because you know what, Nick? We're going to need that length in these games against teams like Detroit and San Antonio and so forth, who every guy, it seems like every other guy is 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan or 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan. We need
I think sometimes you overblow that, but okay.
overblow what their wingspan is. Or how?
Every single person. on
Listen,
Detroit
but
is so long.
they got a lot of guys like that. Look,
There's some
Jaden
guys.
Ivey's one of the smallest guys on that team, and then you got the other two guys. Cunningham was huge, and they had a couple guys who were doing that, and definitely on San Antonio. Both of those guys, Vassell and Cassell, or whatever their names are.
Castle and Vassell.
Same difference. Those guys, and then they had other guys coming off the bench like that. It's just bananas, man, and we need our guy on the court.
The lack of defensive recognition. Perfect example is that second game against San Antonio when they stormed back and won. Dude, on New Year's Eve. This guy Champagny. I mean, he's hitting threes. He shoots 11 threes.
That guy?
He shoots them. Well, obviously they're not getting rid of him. Maybe Washington would get rid of his twin.
Right.
But he's not shooting so well this year. The twin. But when there's one play where at this point I think he's got 7 or 8 threes, and he comes down and he run and by the way 7 or 8 threes virtually all from the exact same spot, that left wing. And Brunson is just kind of just standing close to him. He just catches the ball and shoots, and it's like, Brunson, are you watching this game? This guy's fucking killing us from 3. Somebody needs to say, hey, whoever's guarding him, you can't help off of him right now. That's what drives me nuts sometimes, is the lack of recognition of what's happening at the moment. Yeah. And it just seems like, these other teams, they seem to they'll spam the same action over and over again against the Knicks, and we can't do anything. Atlanta the other day, same action over and over again, and we can't, and we're not making an adjustment. And it's like, dude, I could have swore a month ago, a couple weeks ago, I was like, you see how this Mike Brown is making all these adjustments and what the fuck happened?
Yeah. I feel like with Brunson, and you're talking about his defense, and when Brunson is in a position, if he was in a position there with Champagny, where you got to come up and you got to either deliver the hard foul or you have to do something, not necessarily a hard foul, but something, you have to get this guy out of sorts or something. You can't ask Brunson to do more than he usually does because he looks out of sorts when he does it. And
no, I'm not. First of all,
I'm not saying you're saying that.
The guy's shooting threes. So it's not about somebody delivering a hard foul. It's not like he's going to the rim. I'm just saying stay attached to him.
I know, but when Brunson has to stay attached to someone,
no, he doesn't stay attached to anybody.
I know, but when he tries to do it, he'll foul him.
He doesn't try. Okay. No. All I'm saying, listen, if you're standing this close to the guy and the guy gets the ball passed to him and you're that close to him and put a hand up, my thing is that when it comes to Champagny in that game, I don't think that the coach should have to say this. I think if I was in a pickup game and somebody was just catching the ball and shooting the ball like that, if I was guarding them or if I wasn't guarding them and somebody else was, I would say, make him dribble the fucking ball. Get close. Just get close enough to him that when he gets the ball, he can't rise up and shoot. And to be able to get off that shot, he has to dribble at least. Stop letting him catch the ball and be open enough to just fire it off. I think that Brunson it's well within his physical ability to do that. He just doesn't do it.
Right. Oh, I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm not saying Brunson cannot do these things. It's just that he doesn't do it. He doesn't. That's not how he plays. And when he is asked to play like that, it's obvious that he's out of sorts. He has to start playing like that more consistently. And I don't know if he will or can.
If that's the case, then yeah, we're
if
something as simple as stay close enough, stay attached to this guy is something that's too much for him.
I don't think
then we're fucked.
But I don't think that's something. Well, look, we've gone very far with Brunson, Nick, but it requires the other 4 guys on the court with him to take it to another level to make up for that shortcoming of his. Like I say, he's a leader at one end. Other guys have to lead him and help him on this end, and we haven't been doing that at all lately.
Whether it be himself or the coaching staff or his teammates, if we are going to ever win an NBA championship, they need to be able to say to him or anybody else on the team, I need you to be close to that guy. Because there's so many switches in today's NBA. So I need to be able to just say to the team, listen, this guy Champagnie, don't let him make him put the ball on the floor. Run him off the 3-point line and make him. And everybody who's on the floor needs to be able to understand that concept and then execute it.
I agree with everything you just said. I've agreed with everything you just said. What I said was not a rebuttal to what you said. I agree.
I don't think that's something where the other guys need to be able to make up for his shortcomings.
I think, Nick, that on defense in general with the Knicks, he's going to have shortcomings. I wish he wouldn't, but he does. I wish everybody would stay close enough to the guy, but they don't. His shortcomings have to be helped by the rest of the team.
His lack of size is one thing. Him being a fucking idiot on certain plays and just literally not having the mental,
The Brunson hate getting strong out.
Oh, the lack of the just falling asleep on defense sometimes, and the lack of understanding what is happening in the game, and the fact that this guy is fucking killing us, whoever that may be. It's mind-numbing. Because again, I get it. Listen, he's small. He's not athletic. There's times when he gets the ball and he gets the ball in a position where the other guy's just going to just punish him and just put the ball in the basket. And I don't even begrudge him that. I'm like, you know what? That's one of his shortcomings. That's what it is. You know, he makes up for it in other ways. The times where he just simply is not paying attention to detail, that shit is fucking, it drives me insane.
I think some of that might be, Nick. I honestly feel like, and you said this, that they're tired, but I think in Brunson you can see mental fatigue.
He does that shit in the first quarter sometimes.
But I think mental fatigue, Nick, and I think sometimes I honestly think sometimes, Nick, people wear Brunson down in the game, and I get it. It happens early sometimes and whatnot, but I think a lot of these things manifest themselves because of how the team is playing, and I think it shows itself in different ways. And, you know, when people play him a certain way, it looks to me like that's affecting his game. But you know what? He's always found a way to fight through that. So maybe this is just a lull, and he'll fight through.
It's a lack of focus and attention to detail. I see sometimes where he is able to turn that up, and he's able to be more connected. Like I said, there was times against Duncan Robinson where I saw him understanding the personnel, who he's playing against, and the fact that, you know, I need to make this guy at least put it on the floor, and I need to run him off the 3-point line. There's other times where he's further away and he closes out half-heartedly with his hand up like this, and I don't think it's because he's too tired. I just think that it's not something that he puts enough focus and emphasis on. He's got to be better at it. He has to be better at that. Just like, you know, Cat has to be better and has shown signs of being a little bit better at it this year, but obviously he needs to be even better about the fact that, hey, I'm just going to put my hands straight up, and, you know, I'm going to get my hands up, and I'm going to put them straight up, and I might not necessarily block the shot, which he's probably not going to block the shot anyway most of the time, but I am going to at least, you know, show some sort of resistance. All of them just have to be more mentally focused, and honestly, I think that at the end of the day, as much as I would like them to fix it, it's Mike Brown who has to somehow get through to them and get them to lock in when it comes to the defensive end. And, you know, for a second, I thought that we were showing some signs, and he kept saying in post-game press conferences that we still need to show a level of consistency. And there was a time where I felt like we definitely could mature into that. Now I'm having my doubts.
Definite doubts, man. I heard one stat earlier that was pretty damning. Who was it? I think it's Tony Kornheiser said they've given up like 115 or 120 points straight in 10 games straight, and that never happened under Tibbs. I'm just saying.
That's fucking stupid. I still forget all that because all of these issues that we're talking about were all issues under Tibbs.
They were.
Other teams being more physical than us, and also realize that at this point of the season last year, we had our strength of schedule was 13th. As far as let me make sure I'm saying this right. Last year, our strength of schedule at this point of the season was 28th. This year, it's 13th. Last year, at this point of the season, we had missed like a total of 8 games to injury across the entire roster. Obviously, this year, it's been way, way, way more injuries. And also, I do think that I agree with not playing every single... last year, we played every single game, both in the minutes that we played and also... really just that. The minutes that we played, especially our best players, we played every game like we absolutely had to fucking win that game. Where I do think that this year there is a little bit more emphasis on trying to develop guys and trying to experiment with lineups and things like that. But, hey, the experimenting looks good when it's working. When it's not
exactly,
working, it's like,
man. We're going to see, Nick.
I do think it's more important that we... first of all, keep the minutes down and then also experiment with lineups so that when we get to the playoffs, we're not in the same situation last year where everybody's spent and we don't have any lineups that we understand other than basically one. So I think all those things are important, and I do understand that there's going to be growing pains and ebbs and flows in the course of a season, but mindset-wise, there has to be a shift. Last
night was very, very jarring to me. I got to tell you, I believe if we meet these guys in the playoffs as we are presently constituted, without us having a serious brain fix, we will not be able to stay with those guys.
Do you think that we had some sort of serious brain fix last year?
No, I don't.
Leading into the playoffs. So why did we all of a sudden play so much better against these teams?
What I see is they're playing better. Okay, I think we're still playing on a level. I think they've raised their level, man. I think they've raised their level.
But what I'm saying is we got blown out by Boston during the regular season last year.
Right. And then we came back.
So I do think that some of it is the fact that when you get into the playoffs, you're going to keep your level of intensity at a high, at a higher peak, more consistently just because of the nature of what's going on. But it's not something I want to rely on. I would like to start seeing it but the thing is that we've seen that this Knicks team, when they're playing at their peak, that they can beat anybody. They can beat the best teams in the league. They can definitely at least hang with them.
The 7-game series, though. My point is I don't think we beat that team in a 7-game series right now because that team's going to beat us up. They're going to beat us down mentally and physically, and it's going to, like I say, it manifests itself in games. It's going to manifest itself in the series. That's what I think. That's what I think I saw last night.
Yeah.
I hope we figure that out, but we got to really figure that out, Nick. I mean, there were a lot of things I saw last night where we were. It's not just that we were tired. We didn't want it. We didn't want the smoke, as they say. There were times I felt like we absolutely did not want the smoke that those guys were bringing.
But I think that if we play at the level that we played, let's say in those last 2 games of the NBA Cup, I think that that's a level that's clearly attainable. We played to that level within the last few weeks. I think if we play at that level, we have a much better outcome and a much better showing against a team like Detroit. But for some reason, playing at that level consistently has continued to elude us.
Right. I do agree with that. I think Detroit in particular, the team that they have, with their size, their strength, I think if we play at that level, Nick, I think right now we still lose to them in a 7-game series. Yeah, I just think we need to, because even when we were playing at that level, Nick, our defense wasn't to that level where, I mean, again, Nick, I still look back. When I saw that team last night, I really thought about the Knicks in the 90s, man, because these friggin' guys were playing like that every single play. It was annoying. It was
Yes, again, they're playing against the team that eliminated them last year.
Okay.
So they come in with a little bit of extra juice.
I think they're playing like
I think
that
if
all
we played
year.
them in a playoff series right now, we would. I think if we played anybody in a playoff series right now, we would play much closer to our peak than we have played in these last 4 or 5 games. But hey, like I said, Josh Hart, Godspeed. Landry Shamet, Godspeed. And I think that, forget the Giannis trade, we absolutely positively, we need another ball handler / creator that can also keep somebody in front of him.
Yeah, I don't know how many guys like that are available. I mean, but it has to be a trade. But somebody who having will give him like you said, Sadiq Bey, but he's not really a ball handler, but he's a shooter and he's a defender.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind another small guy who can really harass somebody. Not small guy, but a guy who can hold guards and stuff like that. Who happens to not be small.
They got both of them are on New Orleans. Alvarado. We need to figure out a way to get both of those guys. We need to figure out a trade where we get both of those guys back. And honestly,
Alvarado and who else?
And Sadiq Bey.
Oh,
They both play.
So
for
then,
Pelicans.
if you got Alvarado now, your man Kolek has gone to the bench pretty much, right? He's taking Kolek's minutes.
Not all of them, and I think that
But
if you
if
make a
he's
trade
playing well.
like that, Dad, listen.
Hey,
I
no big deal.
The Deuces and the Mitches of the world. I love Deuce. I love Mitch. I'm not saying I'm ready to move on from Deuce or Mitch. They're not untradeable.
Yeah, but you can't move on from Mitch now. He's just started to learn how to shoot foul shots.
Fuck out of here. Yo, man. I'm seriously, man. Like, I think that we're at a point where the gap between Mitch and Huck Porty or Jamison, it's not as wide as it once was.
No.
The gap is not as wide. And it's like, if I have to give up Mitch, and let's say I can get back Sadiq Bey and this guy Alvarado, some of those two parts might equal more than what Mitch is giving us right now. I hate to say it. And listen, when Mitch is...
I mean, 8 games ago, we were so pro-Mitch. And not just you, me, everybody.
There's
It
too much
changes so
variance.
quickly.
There's too much variance. There's too much variance. And it's like, you look at it and you get that sort of variance, and all of a sudden, another trend continues to, manifest, which is the teams that won the NBA Cup both got eliminated in the first round.
Yes.
So, okay.
It's scary.
It's very, very scary, especially considering we have, continued this trend of the 10 games afterwards. Hopefully they all figure it out. You got on Wednesday, you got the Clippers who are coming in red hot. Kawhi is dropping 50 burgers.
Exactly.
And then on Friday, out here in the desert, you, me, and my son will be in attendance. You got the Knicks against Phoenix, who they've been playing extremely well.
Yeah.
They just beat OKC. But also, let's take a step back and realize that OKC is scuffling a little bit right now too.
Right. They're 6-6. It's last 12.
It's a long season.
It's a long season.
It's a long season.
Always
and
a lull.
You always hope that this is the time where we, like I said, we got to do some soul searching. And you know what? Another thing is, I'd rather us go through some of these,
well, listen,
growing pains now,
of
as
course.
opposed to even late in the season, just so that we can say, so we can figure before the deadline. If we can make some moves, and coaching staff, players, everybody. Hopefully, I know they don't like losing, just like we don't. Hopefully, it gets them refocused.
Of course, we say we'd rather us go through the growing pains now, just because we're hoping it doesn't happen later. If the growing pains continue for the rest of the season, it's just going to suck. But it's not going to continue. Nick. I mean, hey, we just got to see what happens, man. We can hand wring all we want, and you see what happens. But listen,
All
man,
good just a week ago.
I know it's not going to be easy, Nick. There's going to be ebbs, peaks and valleys, as they say. So we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, we shall see. The Jets, they ended a season of futility.
Very bad.
They set all types of records for worst. Set all types of records for just worst everything. I mean, The quarterback rating against us, no interceptions. You go out and you get your former defensive back, who is he the all-time leader in interceptions for the Jets?
No, I think probably Revis. No,
Revis didn't have a lot of picks, man. They didn't throw the ball his way.
Maybe.
He might be because he had like 30-something interceptions,
Did he?
in his career. Yeah, and you would
He
think
was
that the
very good at that,
majority of
yeah.
them are with the Jets.
I heard him talking today.
Dad, but hold on, just a second. Not one interception.
Listen, it's a very futile and very sad.
You would think just there would be one time
It's amazing,
where
right?
a
And the ball gets tipped. I see it in every game. It's amazing. It's beyond not. I mean, listen. Obviously, the Jets suck at getting interceptions. Their linebackers and their defensive backs should feel very badly about that. But beyond that,
let me give you just a little bit of one statistic. 2025 New York Jets, 32nd in point differential, 32nd in turnover differential, 32nd in yardage differential. First team in NFL history to rank 32nd in all three categories.
It was a terrible year, Nick. It was a phenomenally terrible year. But what are you going to do? You move on, and you hope that these guys.
What are you going to do? You move on.
What's your answer then?
Of course,
you got the answer.
Of course, we have to. Of course, we have no choice but to move on.
Exactly.
But I mean, the whole point of what we're doing now is talking about what just happened. Like
I
what we
know.
saw.
I mean, it was a terrible year, and you hope these guys, Glenn and Muji, can figure it out and get the right people in there for different stuff. But man, I think firing people right now would have been even worse than going forward. That would have been literally the worst decision. We're going to see we're going to know very fast whether these guys are good or not. I honestly don't, Nick. I know you say that start of the season is going to be high pressure on Aaron Glenn, and it should be, and it will be. But I don't think. I mean, I don't know what the schedule or what the record would have to be, Nick, for me to fire him mid-season next year, because I never think that helps any team. It just doesn't. So. But I'm let's not hope that's the case. And, it depends. Who's he bringing in here as DC? Because clearly he doesn't want to run the defense himself. And most coaches don't want to do that. They don't want to run the defense and be the head coach. There's too many things that slip through the cracks there. You can't fully be the head coach if you do that. I believe that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like head coaches who say like either run a defense or run an offense, specifically an offense.
Well, but very few guys absolutely run the defense. Like even Saleh, he ran a defense, but he had a defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? You need a guy at that position for certain reasons. Why you're not like head coach / DC.
Why do you think that's so different? Because like a guy like Ben Johnson, like he clearly runs the offense.
But I wonder now, and I don't know about this, but I wonder: is there somebody on his staff who is the offensive coordinator? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he calls the plays.
I think so, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I get it. I mean, and I see that, Nick, but you don't see that much with defense. I remember.
Jesus, this has to be some sort of AI. I put does Ben, and it automatically populated Johnson call plays for the Bears.
Big Brother's listening. But
I mean, yes, he does call the plays.
Okay. I'd love to know. Are there any NFL coaches who are also defensive coordinator for their team? I don't believe.
Defensive coordinator, does that mean calls the plays to you?
Right. Calls the defensive sets and all that. I don't think that happens very often, Nick. Is a guy like Saleh closely working with the defense in practice? Yes. But then if you remember, he got criticized for that. After the 1 year, and the Jets were actually 7-9 or some shit like that. And they were like, he's not spending enough time on the offense. So he even said, I got to step away from that a little bit.
Mike McDonald, Seahawks, calls the plays. Arguably the best defensive in the league.
Yeah, he's killing it.
And, won the NFC. Todd Bowles
still calls the defensive plays for him. Okay, That's interesting. And I remember when Todd Bowles was here with the Jets, I didn't love when he called his defense when he called it. I just remember it not being thrilled.
You hated Todd Bowles.
I didn't like Todd Bowles because he seemed passionless.
Yeah, you couldn't stand like his just like lack of fire.
But he's obviously a good coach. Guys respect him.
I still wouldn't want him being my head coach. I like him as a DC more than a head coach. Right, but obviously, he's had some fairly success. But the Buccaneers absolutely fell off a cliff this year. Lots of injuries, but they totally.
I think their quarterback was really badly injured. With the shoulder. Baker, like his non-throwing shoulder was fucked up, and then he had another injury beside that. I think he was gimpy all year, man. I think it showed. I think in some of his plays.
The injury bug definitely bit him in a lot of other places. I think Baker
that whole team.
obviously.
Evans. Right.
Yeah, Mike Evans was out.
Most of the year.
First 9,000-yard season in his entire career.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It is. And I just feel like this Jets team, man, it's not just the lack of interceptions. It's the lack of making plays. As you always say, the defensive line getting no pressure makes it much harder for the, defensive backfield to be able to make any sort of type of plays. But it wasn't just a lack of talent. It wasn't just that teams are better than us. Teams are doing whatever they want. They know exactly what we do, and they know exactly how to beat it. Buffalo had all these players with all these incentives, and they all got it was like they were like, okay, we're kind of close right now. This guy right here, Kincaid or whatever, he needs a touchdown to get him an extra $100K. We're just gonna do this, and it's gonna be wide open, and we're gonna get him a touchdown. Like when a team is able to not just say, hey, we're going to beat you, but they're able to say, I want to go to this specific guy and get him either a catch, some yards, or a touchdown or two, and get him paid, and we can't stop it.
No.
I mean, come on, man. Some of it is the fact that, we have a lot of first and second year players towards the end of the season. We got practice squad guys who I've never heard of playing. Some of it is the fact that their coaches are doing a better job of deploying a scheme than we are. Point blank, period.
No doubt about it. Yeah, they're. I mean, and you know what, Nick? It's heightened. The bad players are not good enough players, along with the bad scheme, and when you put that together, it's like a melting pot of the worst situation you can see. And it's just too much. I mean, you can't get beyond that.
It's a melting pot, and I'm friggin' the Targaryen brother, and they're just pointing at
the golden dome or the golden crown.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, hey, they
and we can't even tank right because we end up with a second pick. You know what I mean? It's like we can't even get like listen, the Raiders, they figured out at a certain point, hey, we're gonna do everything we can to lose the Raiders. I think a lot of teams tank, and I think the Jets to a certain point. Listen, when you have players that possibly could come back from injury or could play through injury, and you decide to not have them play towards the end of the season, I think that's a form of tanking for sure. I
think you can look at it that way, but I also think that you'd be insane to bring like a Garrett Wilson back out when we have 3 wins. Why would you do that? You have 3 wins and you have Brady Cook throwing the ball. Why would you ever put him back on the field for the last 5 games?
If your goal is to win now,
yeah, but
then you would do that.
You also have to be smart. You want to win with the players that you have, but you're not going to take a risk with this guy who is so important to your team. Not that guy. I get it. The other guys who are healthy, who want to play. A guy just had a knee problem. I want Garrett Wilson to be in bubble wrap and to be in therapy and have everything right for next year. I'm not putting him back on the field for the last 4 games of the season with us having that.
I agree with all that. I still think that's a form of tanking. I think whenever you don't play a guy who possibly could play, I do think that that's a form of tanking. Speaking of tanking, then that the Jets now have the 2nd overall pick, and you have 2 quarterbacks that are one of them's definitely coming out in Mendoza. Dante Moore. I've heard some people say this, not necessarily that he would, but they would advise that if the Raiders don't show and give him the interest or the inclination that they're definitely going to pick him, go back and play another year. Because what you cannot do is put your career in the hands of the Jets. How do you feel about that? Like if you take being a Jet fan out of it, and it's just you, and this kid personally, you're friends with his dad.
I would say I would never recommend that somebody looks at it that way or goes about it that way, because listen, it's very different now, Nick, because you can go back to college and make $5-10 million. So that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Before, you'd clearly come out to get paid.
But we're talking modern day.
Okay,
if you're his family friend and he asks you.
Maybe you think about it, but you know what, Nick? I don't think it's that simple. Because I think you make that decision and you say take being a Jet fan out of it because, we think about it as Jet fans and sometimes as spurned Jet fans and we say, well, that's insane. Why would you put yourself in the hands of the Jets? But the fact of the matter is, Nick, that we don't know what the future holds. You could say, I'm going to hold off, and then you could go to a team next year that chooses you and they fall off for the next 5 years or something.
They can.
I mean, look, you can judge history.
There's no team who's historically, like you said, just fumbles the quarterback position. And I mean, now especially you have this shining example in Sam Darnold of a guy who, is showing himself to be not just more than a competent, but a good quarterback. And
I wonder if that happens for us, though, Nick, because if we have a good quarterback, if he is not good in the first 2 years, the people in New York are going to be ripping their hair out and want to get rid of him.
That's part of the problem.
Yes, and that makes it very difficult to have a guy that's good. I mean, we just have to. I hope if we draft the right guy, we have the right coaches and the right quarterback in position at the same time, because we don't have the patience to wait for somebody to be good, even if we see some things. We've shown that over and over. Huh?
Why not?
I mean, I think New York is impatient. I think. The
but
team is impatient. I think we've been so bad for so long that it's reached a fever pitch of impatience. I mean, beyond every other team, just about, we've got a fever pitch of impatience. It's even beyond, say, like Cleveland, simply because they're not they're not New York.
Yeah, but you got to stop listening to the media. I'm not the only person. Media fans, whatever. I'm not the only person who felt like we should have stuck with Sam Darnold. There was plenty of people in the media, notably Dan Orlovsky, who was saying back then, no, you stick with Sam Darnold. He's showing you signs. You get an offensive lineman, specifically Penei Sewell, and you get some other pieces around him. And somehow, some way, and I think especially in the NFL, starts at the top. Going back to Woody, where they panicked. A team like the Jaguars, they didn't panic. This guy Sunshine, he had a couple years where it was like, they said, no, this guy has the ability. We just have to find the staff and put the people around him to be able to maximize his potential. And we see this year, one of the hottest teams in football, and Sunshine is back to looking like the top flight prospect that he was. I think Woody's the biggest problem. I think he is by far the biggest problem. I think that him firing Saleh last year when he did, him hiring Adam Gase, and and moving on from Darnold and everything else. I think that a lot of the times I think that Woody's behind a lot of those decisions. I really do. I don't know that to be sure. Some of those decisions are his decisions. But some of those, that whole thing this year, Dad, where they asked Justin Fields and he was like, "Yeah, I never really talked to the guy." That's not good, man. That is poor form overall. And, the fact that this guy is like walking around, talking shit to people, asking guys like, Jordan Travis, are you ever going to play shit like that? The fact that, this coaching staff, again, I've said this before, I'll say it for the last time, I promise. The fact that they decided to go with Justin Fields as their quarterback as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, who looked like, in that game, which was a classic, and we'll talk about it a little bit more coming out of that game as far as the results of it and the domino effect. But, this guy, when it matters the most, when it's time to get your team into the playoffs, he's able to make the reads and make the throws. And he made a couple reads and a couple fucking fantastic, beautiful throws that are better than any Jet quarterback I've seen in my entire life in that game. And at the end of the day, I think that there's nothing about this current regime, whether it be the coaching staff, the front office, or the ownership, that give me any confidence, whether we get Mendoza or more, give me any confidence that they'll be able to develop them. And quite frankly, if I was this kid's people, if I wasn't a Jets fan, and I was looking at this solely from a mind state of what's best for him, I would say, either come back or pull some like Eli Manning type shit. If this is my son, if this is somebody I care about, and he's got a budding NFL career in front of him, I would say you have to do everything you possibly can to not end up on the Jets.
Okay. I wouldn't say that to anybody. I think it's a chance to play in the NFL. I think you should take that chance and run with it. And I think you take the opportunity to be a leader and turn things around. And hopefully you can be that guy. Yeah. And you will never, you'll be the man forever. But listen, hey, everybody has their opinion on that. I don't know. I mean, I think you're always going to be hung up on Aaron Rodgers and Sam Darnold. Realize, though, Sam Darnold, after he left the Jets, had another year or two where he kind of sucked.
Oh, I think Minnesota should be more pissed than anybody.
Exactly, man. I mean, these guys pushed this guy out the door.
But
Carolina, they didn't want him at all.
They already had. Well, listen, I think it takes you a little while to unlearn and get past all the bullshit that you did with the Jets.
I mean, Nick, he just got better over time, and that's great. I'm glad for him.
Yeah, no.
But I don't think he needed time.
I don't see. I disagree with. I don't think that he just figured some things out and got better. I think that both personnel around him, the people that were teaching him, overall put him in a better position to win. I absolutely
Nick.
think
absolutely.
That's the case.
All of those things are true. Mm-hmm. But he's much better at what his craft now, in large part because of the people who were training him, but also in part because the young man just is better. So the question is, if he had stayed with us another year, a third year, and he still kind of sucked, I don't think as many people would have been, and I don't think that many people were like, please don't let Sam Darnold go. I mean, when they let Sam Darnold go, there was no uproar. There were some, like yourself, who wanted to keep him. But I think another year of that, I don't think there would have been many people who felt that way. That said, if he had, McConnell or whoever whispered in his ear and got him right in Minnesota, maybe that would have all started year one, and he could have come better up from there. I don't know. I hope so.
I'm definitely not totally confident in this guy Engstrand, though I'm not, feeling like we need
to get a quarterback guy in besides him. They need to get like a passing coordinator, quarterback coach.
But nobody with any sort of cachet wants that role.
No, Cliff Kingsbury isn't coming, although he's available now.
He is available. You know who else is available? Harbaugh. Yeah,
that's crazy.
John Harbaugh is available. And honestly, Dad, I don't see why he would have. He's gonna have a bunch of people knocking down his door and begging him to come over there, and he's gonna go to the Giants.
Absolutely. I thought as soon as I heard that, I was like, he looks like he could be the Giants coach. Wellington Mara is probably at his house right now. Not Wellington Mara.
And if I'm a coach and I'm looking at these different vacancies,
oh yeah.
Come on, man! You got a young quarterback who needs to be reared in just a little bit.
Why not?
Scadaboo could be coming back.
That's right.
And then Neighbors coming back. You got some.
Maybe you get this guy Abdul Carter right. You got Thibodeau. You got they got a couple guys. Brian Burns, Dexy.
Gonna have a what do they got, like the 5th pick or something like that? 7th pick.
7.
They fell all the way to 7. Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he's going to end up there.
He's going to go be the coach there.
I think the Harbaugh thing, Nick, honestly, when I saw that earlier, I said I got to say this to Nick later on the podcast. It is rich people not understanding poverty. They are
1,000%.
He averaged 10 wins a year for 18 years. I would crawl over broken glass for that. Are you kidding me? I mean, yeah, and people say, "Oh, well, they've had some tough losses."
This concept that you're talking about is also one of the things that annoys me so much about the Aaron Rodgers situation, where it's like, listen, I get it. He's not as great as we expected him to be. I realize that you're going to have to deal with the fact that, he's such a personality and this and blah, 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 blah. Dude, he had the second best year in Jets statistical history last year. Like, what? And now all of a sudden you're just like, all right, it's time to move on. No, stick with this.
It was time to move on. We would have won 6 games this year with Aaron Rodgers.
Bullshit. I think we would have
maybe 7.
Bullshit. We had some of the worst quarterback play in the entire NFL.
We did.
I think if you have Aaron Rodgers on the team instead of Justin Fields, I mean, it
would have made a
totally changes.
I don't think we would have been a playoff team.
Listen, once you start getting to 6 or 7, 8, anything can happen. Who knows?
Anyway, 6, 7.
But
I think letting Harbaugh go. Listen, man, and you know what? Clearly, the quarterback
Lamar
didn't. He didn't pound the table for John Harbaugh.
I don't necessarily agree with that. How do you know that?
Because Nick, I feel like if he had pounded the table and said to Steve Bisciotti, he's not just a fly-by-night guy, Bisciotti. He's a very staid guy. I think he would have had a much better chance. Like, listen, when they talked to, and they talked about this today on TV, when they talked to him after the game, I didn't hear exactly what he said, but he did not like come out and say like a vote of confidence to John
I watched
Harbaugh.
the whole thing, and I think that narrative is bullshit. If you listen to like,
what did he say?
You gotta see the whole thing in context. And they start asking him about stuff next year, and he says, "Listen, man, right now,
we just lost.
I'm stunned that we just lost and we're not in the playoffs. Right. I'm not thinking about next year and who comes back or whatnot. I'm thinking about that. And listen, maybe he didn't come out, or maybe he came out and straight up said, I think we need to move on from him. To me, personally, and I like Lamar Jackson, obviously. People are talking about, if he's available, the Jets should get him. I disagree. I do not think that a guy who his game is, I'm not going to say predicated, but relies very much so on athleticism. He's had some injuries. He's getting older. He's making $50, $60 million a year. I don't think that that's your answer right now. And honestly, like you said, if I am Baltimore, this guy, he's got a lifetime contract with me. Okay, we can get in
Lamar
different.
Jackson?
No, fucking Harbaugh.
Oh, Harbaugh.
And if we move on from Lamar, or we find this guy or that guy, or we figure some different stuff out. But the standard that he's able to get these guys to play at consistently over
18 years.
18 years, almost 2 decades.
It's insane.
Come on, man. I just
what are we doing?
I don't understand how you want to move on from this guy.
The game.
Who replaces him? Who do you have waiting in the wings that you feel like is going to do such a
And that's
better
what
job?
I'm thinking, Nick. They got somebody who they feel like they want, because that's why they do it. That's why I think, listen, Atlanta fired the coach and GM.
After he won 4 games straight.
16 and 18 in the last 2 years. And he just won his last 4 games.
Won 4 games straight when his team was mostly out of it. So they're playing for him, and they all came out screaming that they
exactly. Bijan Rams, all of them came out supportive. You do this because you got Matt Ryan. The owner has been talking to Matt
Ryan's not going to be the coach.
I know.
It's going to be like the president of football
and Matt
operations.
Right. You're going to let him run the show, and he wants to. You've had all these conversations with him, Nick.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. That's why Gerard Mayo, you're out. They know they got Vrabel coming. They got Vrabel.
That's a little bit different.
Right,
we're talking about Gerard Mayo.
Right, he had a bad thing. But
he's just Gerard Mayo.
Right,
you know what I mean?
And
it's not like you're not going to upgrade from Mayo to Vrabel, from Harbaugh to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, that's the thing. There's nobody coming in.
I don't know who you're bringing in. And listen, man, I'm telling you, Nick, it's rich folks not understanding what poverty's like. And thinking shit is sweet, and then all of a sudden you're homeless. Now what?
As Jets fans, we understand that, because there's times all the time where I see people either move on from coaches or quarterbacks that I'm
like, what are you doing?
The fuck?
And I'm telling you now, I would not move on from Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying the Jets should get him. I don't want the Jets to go out and pay any high-priced free agent or make a huge trade and give up all sorts of draft cap. No, we don't need to do that right now. That doesn't help.
That's not where we are.
That's not where we are. We don't need to do that. In virtually any position.
You got to get the young guy and develop him.
That's right.
I keep hearing this Kyler Murray chatter.
You see, and I don't want to hear that. I would much rather, listen, whoever we got to bring in, a Mariota or somebody like that for a year or two and develop a young guy.
But if you take somebody with the second pick, there's no developing.
Yeah, but you're going to develop him. All I'm saying, like I said to you, we had the same conversation last week. I could see a guy not playing the first few weeks of the season.
But it was different when we were talking about the 5th or 6th or 7th.
No, but I think even the second pick, he does not have to start game 1.
I think he does.
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's absolutely necessary because, just like with Eli Manning. With Eli Manning, they brought him to the Giants. He played in like the 6th or 7th game of the season.
Those are way different times. Things are way different.
I think that was a salient and smart thing to do, is to let this, because you saw that the young man had to learn a little, and he got his head beat in when he got in like the 6th or 7th game. Yeah. Kurt Warner was pissed off because Kurt Warner was playing
pretty well.
But they put him in the game because they thought it was time for him to go. All I'm saying is, I don't think that I don't believe in the mentality that if you get drafted second, you have to start the first game. It depends on how this kid is. If this kid's a world beater and he's that guy, then put him out there.
I think if
he needs a couple more games,
I think if he's not, then you shouldn't draft him second.
I think you don't know that till you get in the building. They didn't know that with Eli, but they figured it out when he got there, and they made the smart move in doing what they did to develop him, and he ended up he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. I just think that's a good. I don't think it's mandatory that this guy must start game one when he gets drafted. I think that's not a good way of looking at it. It depends on the young man.
I hear you. I'm not even saying that I think it's the smart thing to do. I'm just saying that in today's NFL, if you take a quarterback with the second overall pick, he's playing game one.
He's playing game one. Why? Because that's what the fans and the media expect.
That just because that's the
well.
trend.
I hope our coach has enough sense that if he's not fully ready, you don't start him just because he's the second pick.
Yeah. Then you got to start wondering.
I think perfect example. Zach Wilson should not have been starting game one. And I don't know if it would have made a huge difference with him, Nick. But he should not have been starting game one. He was not ready.
Yeah, but that's just because he sucks.
He did play pretty well that game, though.
Yeah, but he sucks overall.
Right, I understand that, Nick. But my point is, he sucks. So clearly, they could have probably seen that he was not ready, but they felt like they had to start him, and they did, and it was a mistake.
Who was the veteran on that team? Do you know? Who was the guy who could have started instead? Do you remember?
Well, right. So we're not even talking about Aaron Rodgers getting hurt. We're talking about the year before that.
2 years before that. That was his third year.
Wow. I don't remember who the starter was that year for the Knicks. It wasn't Tyrod Taylor, was it?
No.
We didn't have Tyrod. Didn't we have Tyrod once before? Or no, that was the Giants who had Tyrod.
We punctured his lung when he was on the Giants.
Right. Is that the same thing that happened?
Mosley came down. Well, no. So, maybe he broke his collarbone. Mosley is the one that fucked up Tyrod. When he was on the Giants and we played against him, smashed him up, fell on top of him, and fucked him up, and he was out. He was gone. Right. Which Tyrod, are you okay with Tyrod coming back and being our
starter
backup?
No. Well, the problem with him, Nick, is, if he's back up to what? If he comes in and he battles with the second pick in camp, and then the second pick starts. But you know what? I'm not afraid of Tyrod if it turns out like I was talking about. Because if Tyrod has to start in game one, we know he's not getting past game 6.
I know, but Dad, if we draft a guy second and
Tyrod beats him out,
Tyrod, we got a fucking problem. We got a problem if that's Tyrod. The case. And listen, hey, Zach Wilson's rookie year, you know who we had on the roster?
Who?
Joe Flacco.
Which...
That just goes to show you that sometimes it's not about the player getting better or worse. Sometimes it's just about the fucking fact that the Jets fucking suck. Because Joe Flacco has shown since then.
Well, and remember too, though, Nick. Remember also too. Then our offensive line was a joke.
Him, Mike White, both of them.
Right. Our offensive line almost got both of them, and especially Mike White killed.
Got him broke up. But Mike White's got the longest fucking delivery of any quarterback in the modern era that I've ever seen. You got
to time him on a sundial. Yeah. This guy's unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, man. It's
or Zach Wilson. Did they play a down this year?
I think Mike White, for some reason.
I don't think Zach Wilson played a down.
Mike might have got in for a second with maybe no. Zach Wilson is going to be playing in the Arena League soon. I mean, it might be over.
UFL. I think he can do UFL.
That. UFL.
He'd be the man in UFL. Canadian? Maybe. Yo, he'd go to Canada and rip it up.
Fuck out of here with that bullshit, man. Zach Wilson. That guy.
Zach attack.
Listen, I hate to, I wish I wasn't right. I wish I wasn't so right. But I knew as soon as I saw that guy's fucking highlights and he was running from one side of the field to the other side of the field and then chucking the ball to some big tight end dude and they're playing against, Lady of the Peace University. And, I just knew it. I knew it. That guy was never going to be the guy. But yeah, man, hey, this kid Dante Moore, he's legit 6'3".
Is he 6'3"?
He's 6'3".
That was my concern.
He's 6'3". He's 210. I like his look. He's got the look.
He's got the look. And Nick, when he rolls out and stuff and he's got to let the ball go, that ball jumps out of his hand.
No.
I've seen that.
He's got the
and we're going to get it, man. I think Friday night we're going to get him against Mendoza. So we got everything we want to see right there.
Yeah, but you know that we're not going to see most of that game because we're going to be going to go check out the Knicks game.
Oh my damn! I can record it. I'll watch.
I'm going to record that game and I'm going to do some film study on it because most likely one of those two guys is going to be the Jets quarterback of the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Speaking of playoffs, but not the college football playoffs, the NFL playoffs. You got some big matchups coming up this week. You got Buffalo against the Jaguars. Jaguars, arguably the hottest team in the NFL.
And it's in Jacksonville?
Yes, it's in Duval. But Josh Allen.
It's Josh Allen.
There's no Mahomes. There's no Lamar. Josh, if you're ever going to get it done, it's got to be this year.
Yeah, I mean, everybody says that, but you know what? If you can't beat Jacksonville, and I think there's a good chance they could lose to Jacksonville.
Oh, I absolutely think there's a chance.
Very good
Shout
chance
out to my guy Garrison at work. He's an Eagles fan. Let's put that aside. He said today that Josh Allen, the thing about him is if you don't let him roll to his right, because a lot of his big plays, he's rolling to his right. Remember, the Eagles just held the Bills to, I don't want to say like 12 or 10 points here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
If you don't let him roll to his right and you stay disciplined on Cook and you don't let him cut back, that's the way to beat them. It totally shuts down their offense.
Somebody figured it out.
Easier said than done, obviously.
Right.
You got the other Josh Allen on defense going up against the Bills, and that's going to be an interesting game. You know, obviously for them, they'd much rather be playing at home in, you know, the frozen tundra of Buffalo against a team from Florida. But yeah, I definitely think that they have a very good chance. And this could be like, you know, this could be Sunshine's real coming out party.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Nick, this guy's living up to what we saw back at Clemson.
Yes.
He's that guy now in the
Yes.
NFL. And okay, maybe the coaches sucked, but he's another guy that took a little seasoning. But man, has he got it figured out now? And this is the prototype guy, man. The body, the build, the arm.
Yeah, it took Liam Cohen is what it took.
Right.
And then
better coach.
you have Chargers at Patriots. You know Harbaugh is going to have his guys ready.
You know, the Patriots are good, Nick. They've had the weakest schedule of the year.
Yep.
You know, they go up against a real team now. I mean, not to say that they haven't won a lot of big games, but I could see the Chargers going in there and winning that game. Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely could see that being the case. And then, you know, Herbert, again, another guy who's looking to have his coming out party. Yo, man, my dark horse to come out of the AFC, Texans.
Yes.
Pittsburgh.
I think they beat Pittsburgh Monday night.
I do think so, too.
I hate
Just
to
because
say that.
their defensive line is going to be out of control. We know that Rodgers is not as mobile
Defense is
anymore.
out of control.
Specifically,
They're
their
gonna
pass
crush
rush.
Rodgers, man. I'm telling you, the times when Rodgers does get hit, in that moment, he seems to age like 10 years. Like in the slow-mo, and you saw him, and then like his chin straps like up here and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, man.
I know, but let's give him his due. He was brilliant in that game.
He played
fantastic.
You know what, Nick? I thought he played well at moments. I thought he played well at moments.
I mean, he threw dimes.
He played
That throw to Thielen?
Big moments. Oh, my God. These guys were, some of these guys, the Thielen throw was amazing.
What's up with the kickers?
His best throws are in the seam.
Yeah.
I think, Nick, if he tries to go deep outside, he can't do it. He's not completing that pass regularly.
He can do it if DK's out there.
Maybe if DK, because he can overpower somebody, but you know, I don't think the deep pass is his best bet. I think his seam pass is still on point, and he does that very well.
Yeah.
I think they're going to lose to Houston. I think Houston's got a strong enough offense. I think what's their quarterback's name? Is it not Stroud? Stroud. C.J. Stroud. He's on the come up too, Nick. He's played well.
Shit, after his rookie, he had the best rookie season of
I
any
know,
quarterback
but then
in the
he
history of the
fell
NFL.
off.
And he fell off a little bit. But again, like that's the thing with these young guys.
Stick with him.
There's ebbs and flows. Stick with them.
Right,
he didn't fucking forget how to play football. Get the things around him right.
good.
Get the scheme right. Do what you got to do.
Right.
And then obviously you have Denver, who is the top of the AFC, and they'll be waiting for the winner of Bills Jags. Then over on the NFC side, you have the Seahawks. They're sitting home and they're resting. Then you got Rams versus Panthers. I'm pretty sure the Rams are like a 10.5-point favorite. I think they go smoke the Panthers.
It's amazing that it's just amazing how everything works out, and the Rams have to go to the Panthers, and they're going to
Because of division leaders. Yeah.
I
I think they're going to smoke them.
I think they'll beat them.
What do you think about Bears-Packers in Chicago?
That's a game I'm dying to watch. I think the Pack's going to figure out a way, but you know what, man? The wild card is that boy Caleb Williams.
And Ben Johnson is the fucking wild card.
Right.
Ben Johnson gonna come up with some shit you ain't never
Some
seen
plans,
before.
but you see, I think Caleb, his improv, Nick, that guy, when he rolls out and he can it just seems like, I don't know if he's got huge hands, but it seems like he just holds the ball and just like, boom, he can flick it.
I mean, he's just got superior arm talent.
Oh,
and
my
he's
God.
cut down on the huge mistakes.
Right.
And they
Right.
have
he throws it away.
They have a very good running game.
Yeah, they do.
So when you
Excellent
have,
running game.
so
That
when you
boy's
have-
swift.
Now their defense not so great, but obviously the Packers,
But
they
cause
lost
turnovers.
they lost Parsons. They do cause turnovers, and I've the LaFleurs, man, I'm not a huge LaFleur guy. I think that these guys are just, him, his younger brother when he was the OC for the Jets. I think they're a little bit overrated. I think some of their cachet comes from that name. People think that they're good just because their name is LaFleur. But
I think they're very good.
I like the Bears.
But
in that game,
I like the Bears in that. Well, I think they're very good. But honestly, when I start thinking about it more with Caleb and whatnot, I think they can win. And the Bears, listen, the Bears have lost a lot with losing Micah.
Yeah.
That's a huge, huge loss for them. So,
yeah, no, definitely losing Parsons is huge. And then, did you agree with Nick Sirianni deciding to rest guys and therefore getting the 3 seed instead of the 2nd seed? And now they will be at home, and they have the San Francisco 49ers coming in, who, they lost the last game of the season to Seattle, but prior to that were one of the hottest teams. Did you think it was smart for him to rest the guys, or would you have thought it would have been better for him to play his guys, get that win? Now you get the 2 seed, and now getting up to the championship game, you're playing all those games at home.
right. Listen, I think we can think whatever we want. He's clearly making that decision because of what he knows and things we don't know. Some guys might need the rest. And I think he probably, strongly felt, and I heard him talk about this actually. He said, look, I had to make the decision. At the end of the day, guys want to play. They talk to me. I talk to them, but I have to make the decision. Somebody has to make the decision. I have to make the decision. And he clearly thought those guys needed rest.
He said
We'll
one
see.
thing that he could guarantee was rest. He couldn't guarantee that if they played, they would win.
Right.
But the one thing
Right,
that
I
he could
didn't answer
guarantee
that.
was rest.
Right.
So that does make sense. I hear that.
We're
Like,
gonna
I don't
see.
think it's a...
That whole thing will be decided, Nick. That whole narrative, which is unfortunate, will be decided by the results.
Eagles are 4.5-point favorites right now at home.
I think the
against
Eagles. I think the
49ers.
Eagles will beat San Francisco. Because you know what? A couple weeks ago, I was like, "Wow, look at San Francisco! Look at Brock Purdy dancing and shit." He
Doing a Dougie.
Doing a Dougie. He does a good Dougie too.
Pretty good Dougie.
But then last week, you see him and they can't do anything on offense.
Yeah, well, that's Seattle's defense.
That's Seattle's defense, of course. So I think Philly's got a very, very good defense too. And that boy Jalen Carter, that defensive
he's a
lineman,
monster.
He's really on the come up the last half of the season. He's going to be heard from.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that Seattle, with that crowd and having home field throughout, and then, hold on.
Yeah, Seattle, yeah.
Where's the Super Bowl this year?
Santa Clara, San Francisco.
Okay. Yeah. Which ain't that far away from Seattle.
Oh, no. They're going to pack it up.
So if they were able to get there, that would be huge.
It's going to be a caravan.
Yeah, I love Wild Card Weekend. It's going to be a great weekend of football. What do you think? Any thoughts on the college football playoff and what you've seen so far?
Nick, I was texting an old friend about this. I think Indiana could go all the way, Nick. I really do. They're good, man.
Running game.
They're good.
Pretty good defense.
Good defense.
Best quarterback in the nation.
Yes, and that quarterback, I tell you what, man. I know some people are saying, well, yeah, just got the first pick. Maybe you take Dante Moore or whatnot.
I saw a mock draft today that's had the Raiders taking Dante Moore.
Listen, if they want to do that, that's fine. Because you know what? Yeah, you like mobility in the league these days. I think that kid, and listen, I could be wrong, but I think he's the goods, man. I mean, listen, this has nothing to do with anything about whether I draft him. He just seems like a fantastic young man. Some of the things he said in the Heisman speech.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It's just his awareness of the world and everything. I just thought was really, really refreshing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been all in on this kid for a while, and throughout this entire process.
But listen, they brought in a big time quarterback. I don't know if his brother starts next year. They brought in like the top, what's his name, in the portal, top quarterback in the portal.
I didn't know that, but yeah, Baby Mendoza. Yeah, no, he's out. Yeah, he's out. He needs to go the role of Thanasis. You got Miami, Ole Miss.
Did they do that in football?
Oregon, Indiana. I mean, they did it on the college level for
right.
the
I've never seen it done
Fernandez
on the pro
brothers. Yeah, man. I mean, obviously Indiana's the #1 overall seed. So saying that they're the favorite is nothing.
But I'm saying with Ohio State out now, but what their problem's going to be is Georgia. Georgia's good, man, but I don't think Georgia's got as good an offense as
Dad, what are you talking about? Georgia's
out. Georgia's down.
Ole Miss beat Georgia.
Right, Ole Miss. That boy Trinidad.
Yo, that kid, I don't want him.
See, I don't want to draft him because he's too short.
Too small.
But
But he's electric. But he seems like
he's
the kind of
electric.
guy who would be electric on the college level, but
Right.
not on the NFL. He's like a Penix type. But
Well,
then
but Penix has got decent size. He's just got no knees.
he's got no knees, and
can't
he's not
move.
that big. He's not that big. He's a little small. But Miami's
like 6'3"
Miami's
at least.
defense.
I bet you Penix 6'3".
I don't feel like Penix is that tall. He seems small. Whatever. Maybe his knees are compressed. But
No more cuddling.
yeah, but listen, Miami's defense, man, is strong.
Miami is surprising
man.
folks out here. I know. Crystal Ball got him going.
Crystal Ball's got him going. He's a lifelong
I think they
Miami
fall
guy.
off.
It's going to be just good playoffs on both sides across everything in football. And, hey, the offseason is usually the best time for the Jets. So let's look forward to trying to win the offseason.
Let's go.
Catch us every week on YouTube or wherever you find your podcast. Please follow, like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that notification button on all platforms. Really appreciate all the love. You can find us on all socials at Independent Nick. That's Independent N.I.C. Love you, big guy.
Love you, kid.